What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to show you how to play drums in 11/8. 11/8 is a fantastic time signature. It just means we have 11 eighth notes in every measure. Common time, we have 4 quarter notes in every measure, or 8 eighth notes, but in this case we have 11 eighth notes. So instead of counting things like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, we're going to count things like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1. That's kind of exhausting, though, so we could even think of things more like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. 1. Kind of like counting 5.5 beats. But even that can get kind of tiresome after a while, and that really doesn't take into account any type of context or feel or anything. Since 11 is kind of a large number when it comes to time signatures, I find it's really helpful to kind of break it into smaller, more manageable chunks. So we could think of this 11 as 4 beats plus 4 beats plus 3 beats, or 5 beats plus 6 beats, or 4 plus 7, or 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2. There are actually a lot of different ways we can break this down. For some inspiration, we should check out some music that utilizes 11/8. There are quite a few examples that come to mind, like the song Cavalleras by the Mars Volta off the album Bedlam and Goliath. It's got Thomas Pridgen on drums, but there are these big chunks in the middle that are all in 11/8, and that 11 is broken into 5 plus 6. The general rhythm in those parts is like da 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 da. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very syncopated, very cool, very much in 11. Another example would be the tune Cotopaxi, also by the Mars Volta off the album Octahedron, also Thomas Pridgen on drums. This one's a bit trickier in my opinion, but the rhythmic form implies 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. I nailed that. Another example of 11 is the tune Lippincott by Animals as Leaders off the album Joy of Motion with Matt Garstka on drums. This one's more of like an 11/16 thing, but the rhythmic framework is essentially 3 plus 4 plus 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can also think of it as a shorter pulse followed by 2 slightly longer pulses. Another tune that uses 11/8 is called Asco que conmueve los puntos erógenos by Omar Rodriguez Lopez off the album Xenophanes. That also has Thomas Pridgen on drums. Apparently that was supposed to be a Mars Volta album, but then it ended up not being released as a Mars Volta album, so Omar released it as a solo album, I think in like 2009. In any case, I love that album. It's wicked cool. But this tune also uses pretty much the same rhythmic form as that song Cavalleras. So it's another 5 plus 6. Da 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 da. 11/8 is also used in a whole bunch of different King Crimson tunes. It's also in that tune Whipping Post by the Allman Brothers. It's really not as uncommon as you'd maybe expect it to be. Now that we have a few different examples that we can sort of work off of, let's get into actually playing in 11. We'll lay down really basic forms of each of the rhythmic structures, and then we can kind of build off of those. First, we'll break the 11 down into 2 groups of 4 and a group of 3, and we can arrange those like 4 plus 4 plus 3, or 4 plus 3 plus 4, or 3 plus 4 plus 4. To start, I'm just going to keep steady eighth notes on the hi-hats, and for the 4-beat groupings, I'm going to play the kick on 1 and the snare on 3, and for the 3-beat grouping, I'll play the kick on 1 and then the snare in between beats 2 and 3. Once I get comfortable in the basic form of each of these, I'm going to start to expand upon them a little bit, but all those rhythmic forms sound like this. Another way to break up this 11 is to split it into a group of 6 and a group of 5. Now in this case, it can almost feel like a big measure of 12/8, where we're just dropping that last eighth note. So I'll still play steady eighth notes on the hi-hats, but now for our 6-beat grouping, I'll play the kick on beat 1 and the snare on beat 4, which implies more of a 6/8 feel. And then in the 5-beat group, I'll play the kick on 1 and also the snare on 4. We just lose that last eighth note. I feel like I have a bit more flexibility when the 11 is broken into a group of 6 and a group of 5. It allows me to more easily access some triplet vocabulary. I can work in some shuffles and stuff, or we can get some of those syncopated rhythms a la the Mars Volta, which is really heavily influenced by like Afro-Cuban and South American styles of music. Or you could do something a little fancier with that 5-beat grouping. So if we took those 5 beats and split them in half, 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. So the halfway point is in between the 3rd and 4th beats. If I play the backbeat in between beats 3 and 4 instead of directly on beat 4, it makes the whole groove feel like this sort of warped 12/8 thing. Your ears don't even really detect that the backbeat's been displaced by a 16th note, and in that case it almost feels like cramming 2 beats of quintuplets into the space of those 5 eighth notes. So I could even work in some of my quintuplet vocabulary, granted it's functioning in the setting of 16th notes. So if I explore a little further with breaking the 11 into a 6 and a 5, I could maybe get some possibilities that sound like this. I forgot to mention something really important. We could also play the 11 another way that makes it feel super wide. So instead of always hitting the bass drum on beat 1 at the beginning of each measure, we could have the backbeats sort of flip between the upbeats in the first measure and then the downbeats in the second measure just makes the whole thing feel super wide and a little wobbly, because it's like, if we're doing the 4-4-3 thing, you could almost feel it like 2 beats of 16th notes, and then a dotted 8th, and then 2 beats of 16th notes and a dotted 8th, 4/16ths, 4/16ths, 3/16ths, and then you could play the snare drum like every other beat. So it'd be 1 2 3 4 bat da 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 1 2 3 bat 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 bat 2 3 1 2 3 4 bat 2 3 4 1 2 3 bat 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 bat 2 3. It sounds like this. By breaking these larger numbers down into smaller, more manageable pieces, it makes it much easier to explore different phrasing options. The larger the time signature is, the more ways there are to break it down. Try applying the same approach to larger time signatures, especially prime numbers like 13, 17, or 19. You could come up with some really wild ideas. If you like what you saw in this video, check out my Patreon page. Your support grants you access to transcriptions for this video, as well as transcriptions for all my other lesson videos. And follow me on Instagram @DrumMerhar to see more videos of my playing. I also give private drum lessons both in person and remotely, so if you'd like to study with me one-on-one, send me a message and we'll get something set up. As always, thanks for watching and see you next time.